beta-oxidation. And so beta-oxidation is really cool. I like it. It's only 4 steps. It's just the way that it gets repeated. And this is our first spiral. I thought it was great. Starting towards acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA is the ultimate goal here. And that, well, it's sort of like, you know how in the SAT they do, what is it called? The analogies like black is to olive, like orange is to, you know, that kind of. So, you know, pyruvate is to glycolysis, while acetyl-CoA is to beta-oxidation. So that kind of. Like orange is to orange. I should have thought that one through. That was my worst part of the SAT. The whole SAT part. You know, my use of English is very limited. So. All right. So we have beta-oxidation. It's going to degrade fatty acids, in particular, down 2 carbons at a time, okay, to make acetyl-CoA. So I want you to think about, and I think I've already put, oh, by the way, the video is up on my fire. It took a long time to get it around. Let's go, neither here nor there. And then so is the part 1 PowerPoint without the boxes that should already be available. At least I can see it. So, okay, all right. So, but the part 2, I haven't, because we haven't gone through all the parts. So, why is it important for acetyl-CoA? Where do the products go from there? And then once again, why do you suppose it's called beta-oxidation? So why is it important? What is the importance of acetyl-CoA? If you're under the conditions for beta-oxidation to occur, where will that acetyl-CoA go? Citric acid cycle. Because are you going to be doing beta-oxidation when you need energy or when you have too much energy already? When you need energy. Same reason why you go into citric acid cycle. Okay. Oh, and I meant to say, some people had contacted me concerning glucagon versus insulin with respect to energy, relative energy levels. I forgot how it was worded. It was worded best. But does insulin occur when your blood sugar is higher or lower? Higher. It's in response to high blood sugar, so that means you already have met your energetic needs at that time. Like you have just eaten, you just had that Cinnabon, whether you should have had it or not, right? Your insulin spikes, you've got plenty of energy overall for your body. That's why the cells can internalize the blood sugar in order to do whatever it needs to do, whether it needs it for glycolysis or gluconeogenesis, that kind of stuff. Which technically, it's usually going to go, depending upon the cell type, it will usually go for storage if you have too much, with the exception maybe being like the liver, because the liver, remember, it doesn't undergo glycolysis on its own until everything else is taken care of. Okay. Whereas glucagon, typically you have low blood sugar. If you think of it with respect to your blood serum, that means you need energy, so therefore you're going to kick up the other pathways. Because you need to get the energy out. Your blood sugar is low. So your brain doesn't have enough sugar, so therefore we're going to have to start to make sure that it gets released versus getting internalized. All right, that's the new thing. All right. So where do the products go from here? It goes from the citric acid cycle. Why do you suppose it's called beta-oxidation? What does the beta refer to? Pardon? Is it the carbon? The carbon. So if we just review from organic chemistry, or from this last hour of enzymology, you know, these are fatty acids from last semester. So on and so forth, because it goes on and on and on, or could go on and on and on. Where would the beta carbon be?
From the...
Whoops, I've got the negative charge there.
It's the second from the right.
The second from the right, so you're saying this one right here? Is that going to be alpha or beta? That one's alpha because, once again, this is not a scientific term. I call that one the ground zero carbon. If you use numbered locants, it's carbon number 1. So beta is actually carbon number 3. But that's ground zero, so this one's alpha. So that one right there would be beta. Okay. And it lets you know what's occurring at carbon number 3 overall of beta carbon. If it's beta oxidation, it's being oxidized. Yeah, don't overthink it. All right. So here we go. Beta oxidation, just 4 steps, and then it spirals. Because if you start off with 16 carbons, by the end you're going to get rid of 2 in the form of acetyl-CoA, so you're left with 14. Then you go again, you're going to be left with 12 plus another acetyl-CoA. Then again, so on and so forth. So I want you to look at this. And this can also make sense why you get so much energy ultimately out of out of this process. Okay. So, what's that? Ooh, that's not pretty. All right. So here we go. This is already has it written out for you. This is, notice, why does it say Acetyl-CoA? What's the importance of acyl? It's however long. You know, if you have like arachidonic acid, it's 20. And so versus steric, I think it's 16. There's lots. I don't have you guys memorize. There's only one at the end that I'll have you memorize because of its common name is really important. Otherwise, I don't have you memorize it. Like steric, oleic, linoleic, linoleic, all that kind of stuff. All right. And notice it's got the coenzyme A is already attached. So we have the acyl-CoA, we have FAD. Out of it, we get FADH and the trans-enoyl-CoA. So that's why whenever I asked you if trans fats are naturally occurring, it's like no with a little asterisk. This is the asterisk, okay? Because yes, we do get a trans fat here in the step, but it does not leave the enzyme. You don't have, assuming you're healthy and your enzyme, something weird's not going on, it's going to stay here. So you don't have to worry about the trans fat being released into your serum. Versus if you get a trans fat from your diet. All right, and we get FADH too. So what class or classes of enzymes can this be? It's dehydrogenase. See, once told you, once you know the, so this one is a dehydrogenase. And we know that because, what's the giveaway on that one? The FAD to FADH2. Now, if you're going to name this one, what can you name this one? One would be an enoyl-CoA dehydrogenase. What's another one? Acyl-CoA dehydrogenase. And this one is an acyl-CoA dehydrogenase. So I told you that the names really aren't, well, many of the names aren't that bad.
It appears that the majority of the enzymes go by the first, by the.
If you have to guess, once in a while, like pyruvate kinase, and I don't, especially pyruvate kinase, it doesn't go backwards, but it's named backwards. I don't know. It'd be a historical artifact. Okay. You had to guess.
So there's no real reason why it's chosen to go the opposite.
For pyruvate kinase or the, was it succinyl-CoA synthetase? No, offhand I don't know. I would say probably based off of whenever it was first characterized, they probably isolated it going backwards something historically, because there are a few handful ones that you hear about that way. Or if they had named it the other direction, if, so for example, the epimerase, that one epimerase, if it goes one direction, it's called the glucose epimerase. If it goes the other way, it's the galactose. And so sometimes if it would cause being confusing, then maybe. But did you have a question?
Is it just describing what's happening? Like which name it chooses, it looks like it's just dehydrogenating the acyl-CoA.
Right. And remember, dehydrogenate, when we say dehydrogenating, it's not because it's losing a hydrogen, it's because it has to do with the redox reaction. The hydrogens are just, technically it's a hydride, so that's why you can't just say H+, because it's not the H+ here, especially with FAD. And by the way, FADH2 can go on to make up to 1.5 ATPs, whereas NADH can go up to make I cannot speak today. Can go up to make as many as 2.5 ATPs, mole-to-mole ratio. This is why. So why is this called trans-enoyl? The CoA is because it's got coenzyme A attached to it. What's the trans indicate? Right. The trans versus cis. Okay, and that one's pretty easy the way they have drawn. It's trans. What's enoyl? That's one that you probably have forgotten about from organic chemistry. Where does the enoyl come from?
Is it lipid to an enol?
Kind of. Mm-hmm. So if we go back, the ene part indicates what? A double bond. And so an alkene. So we're just going to do it this way. Right. So that'll be the ene. Okay, then we have another. If you have this, and actually if we just have that one, so and you don't have to worry, and the hydrogens are there, and all that, we're not worried about that. If you were going to name that carboxylic acid, do you remember what you would call it? If it didn't have the double bond in it, and it's got 3 carbons, what would it be called? No, it's carboxylic acid, but what would be the specific name for that carboxylic acid? 3 carbons means? Propane, if it didn't have the carboxylic acid. Now if we put the carboxylic acid on it, it's called? Propanoic acid, right? And then what happens is if you add the double bond, instead it goes from being propanoic acid to propenoic acid. Right, technically, if it was like butanoic acid, then you'd have to put the locant stuff. With propanoic acid, you can only have 1 locant. So, I mean, there is no, it has to be carbon number 2. Now, if you go from a carboxylic, if you think back to the rules for carboxylic acids and carboxylic acid derivatives, like if this was an ester, let's say that we put a methyl group on it, what happens to the ending here? It becomes the YL. And so if it was propenoic acid and we put the methyl, it becomes methyl propenoate, right? You have to have that. Or they would call it a propanoyl group. So literally what that means is it's an alkene that was a part of the carboxylic acid, and now it's attached to coenzyme A. So that's what the oil part. And so it comes from, same thing with the amides and all that kind of stuff. It comes back, even they do the same thing with the thioesters. That just lets you know, the ene means it's double bond, the YL means it's attached, and originally the O is a carryover from the carboxylic acid, the carboxylate. Okay. Whoops. So now we have reaction 2. Oh, whoops, sorry, I went too far. We have the trans-enoyl-CoA. We take the water, we smack it with the water to make it, I don't remember. You remember these are, this is a beta-hydroxy ester. So technically it's beta-hydroxy thioester since we have the salt in there. But they have special properties if you think back to organic chemistry. Okay. So first of all, we've done an oxidation reaction here of beta carbon. So we are oxidizing it. What class or classes of enzymes can this be? If you're adding a water, it's a hydratase. You're hydrating it. Okay, so if we were going to name it, what would you name it? Trans-enoyl CoA. Yes, it's enoyl CoA hydratase. If you put the trans on there, that's fine too. Yes. So the name's not too hard. It makes sense. The big thing is, once again, you just have to remember that most of these have those generic names like acyl, enoyl, because they really do take a wide variety of substrates for each round, right? From 20 to 18 to 16 to 14. The name here should make sense. I'm not so worried about the standard chemistry that you know as L. But it is going to be enantiomer specific. But the beta-hydroxy-acyl-CoA, it's still an acyl group. It still has a coenzyme A on it. It has an alcohol, which remember those are called hydroxy. Whenever they don't have the top priority, they're called the hydroxy group. And it's on the beta carbon. So there's ground 0, alpha, beta. So that's why it's called beta beta-hydroxyacyl-CoA. So here's reaction 3. We oxidize it once again. So it goes from beta-hydroxyacyl-CoA to beta-keto-acyl-CoA. Hopefully you see the pattern here that's going on. We have an NAD going to NADH, where you can go make up to how many ATPs? 2.5. And that will make sense. I think it's in chapter 20 when we figure out and that's a question that many times I have asked on quizzes or exams. Why does FADH2 only make 1.5, NADH can make up to 2.5? So don't be surprised if you don't see that later on.
What was that question again?
Why NADH can make up to 2.5 ATPs, molar ratio, whereas FADH2 can only make 1.5 ATPs. Don't worry, I stress it again in that chapter, but I've said it, I've been stressing it all semester long. Actually, I probably even said it last semester time too. So what class or classes of enzymes can this be? What? Say it. Dehydrogenase. And if you're going to name it, don't be wishy-washy. Don't make me do my, faith integration on that one. Look what it says for the lukewarm wishy-washiness guy. Will spew out of your mouth. Not out of your mouth, out of his mouth. So, it would be what specific one? Yes, this is beta-hydroxyacyl-CoA dehydrogenase. So we're almost there. We're almost where we need to be. We have our beta-keto group. Once again, the beta position has special properties. So does the alpha position with respect to these ketones. These carbonyl-based things like esters and carboxylic acids and thioesters. Just to do a quick review from organic chemistry, these hydrogens typically have a much lower pKa than what you would expect, just because of the fact that they are stuck between. You can oxidize the beta carbons just because of the properties we have here, that kind of stuff. All right. So then finally, we only have one reaction left. We have beta-keto-acyl-CoA. We have another coenzyme A. So we actually utilize a lot of coenzyme A in this part, which makes sense since ultimately we're making a lot of acetyl-CoA. And it comes in, it cleaves, it does that Claisen, it's a reverse Claisen reaction. If you need to, you can go back to organic chemistry to look up like those Claisen reactions and stuff like that. What that means. And then it makes another acyl-CoA, but it has 2 carbons fewer than the last time. And then we have acetyl-CoA. What enzyme could this be? This one is the one that's got this special name. You know how we had like enolase and aldolase and fumarase? I was like, I know there's another one. There's another one. Okay. Enolase, aldolase, fumarase, and aconitase. There's this ACE. And it's not called this ACE before you read that. This ACE, no. So what are some of the functional groups that we have around here? Like, you know how we have enolase, and aldols and aldolase. Oh, there's ketones. So we can see a ketone. What else do we have? Thiol. And this is thiol. Okay, notice there's a little asterisk. You can either write it down or you can keep it in your mind's eye or what have you. This is the thiol. We're going to see, notice it shows, all of these show the enzyme only going one direction. That's because the reversal of this process is not just a reversal of beta-oxidation, the way it's made. We will see this enzyme again though. Even though it shows in this process, this enzyme is only going one way, we actually can see it go the other direction in a different metabolic pathway. But no, this one's named after the thiol. So what do you suppose its name is going to be? It's thiolase. So, yeah, and like I said, we can it does do the reverse. It's just not in this pathway it does the reverse reaction. Does that make sense? It's actually an enzyme that's used in more than one pathway. So it's thiolase. Like I said, that's the only one. All the other ones are like the traditional naming systems. If you look up the Enzyme Commission terminology, I'm sure that they give it a very specific name. I would not expect you to know that name. Because a lot of times they're named after like both substrates and, you know, they have those names that have like 40 letters and that kind of thing. But they're very, very descriptive. Okay, so if we look at the entire process here, like I said, it's a big spiral. So we can see where, if we start off with 18, let's see. If we start off with 18 carbon, so octadecane, you know, that means 8 plus 10, 18, which is a common name of stearic acid. If you start with 18, please note it only goes through 8 cycles. That's another question I have asked in the past, you know, giving you how many total carbons it is, like how many times it goes through beta-oxidation. Why doesn't it go through 9? It's one of those when you sit and think about it, you're like, no, duh. You know, but then afterwards, like, just ask how many times would something with 18 carbons go through, and 90% of the time people say, well, 9. But it's actually only 8. Why?
Because you're left with Acetyl-CoA at the end.
Yeah, at the end, when you have 4, that last time you get 2 Acetyl-CoAs out. So if this had 20, it would be, instead of 10, it's going to be 9. If it had 14, instead of 7, it's going to be 6 times around. And so you just have to kind of think that through. I don't necessarily mean it to be a trick question, but that's why. If you look here, we have 18, but since it goes 8 times, you get out of it 8 NADHs and 8 FADH2s. You get 9 acetyl-CoAs. Each of those NADHs can go up to make 2.5, so 8 times 2.5, 8 times 2 is 16 plus the 0.5, you've got 20. Yeah, 20 ATPs for NADH. You know, so there's a lot that you get out of it. The acetyl-CoAs go into the citric acid cycle. Citric acid cycle can go on to make more equivalents. So there's a lot of energy you get from it. This is what it looks like. It's a little easier to see. I also like this figure, you know, from the old one because the thiolase uses little scissors to cut the cleavage. Oh, and I also want to point out, like this one, don't be surprised if you see that delta sign. You know, the other one may just call it enoyl-CoA, or trans-enoyl-CoA. That delta lets you know, does anyone remember from organic chemistry what that delta means? It lets you know where the double bond is occurring. So the double bond is occurring between, you know, it starts at carbon number 2, so carbon 1, carbon 2. That's why it's called delta 2. Okay. We can see it around. Oh, right. This is just another way of showing it. Ooh. Whoops, sorry. I don't remember this video. So, can't guarantee what video that is, so it won't work on this app anyways. I do know we had one group many years ago, back when we did the videos, that did a beta-oxidation video. It's very catchy. It's not very aesthetically pleasing because they just did it against the wall in Poland, I think. So it's just the words of their song going up the wall as they sing, but it's one that if you learn it, gets stuck in your head. Because I think it's from that Teen song. But, okay. Where the products go, why is it important? We've already discussed this. You know, acetyl-CoA goes into the citric acid cycle. I haven't specifically stated, but where does the NADH and the FADH2 go? Pardon? The electron transport chain. Okay. Now, if you knew exactly what part of the electron transport chain that it went into, to, I almost do bonus points right now. But, especially for FADH2. And so, what? So, you're gonna learn about that. All right, so this was the generic fatty acids. Now what about the unsaturated? You know, those good fats we all hear about. Those monounsaturated and polyunsaturated, the PUFAs and all that kind of stuff. Pardon?
I'm assuming there's some sort of hiccup.
They would. Hiccup, that's a good word for it. Oh yeah, there's a hiccup. It does require a couple of different reactions because, well, what are the naturally occurring unsaturated fatty acids? The naturally occurring ones. What's one of the what kind of unsaturated fats are they? We just went through beta-oxidation. They're cis. If you notice, that was trans. So it's not like you could just jump in, you know, on set 2 or whatever. No, it's trans, and so versus cis and everything. So it's going to require different. So this is oleic acid, which Acetyl-CoA. That's it. So it's a double bond between carbons 9 and 10. Once again, I don't expect you to memorize the numbers. Now, if you go back to that chapter 10, the way that we talked about the, you know, like 16:0 or 16:1 delta 9, I would expect you to be able to draw it then. This is why I can do that kind of stuff. What happens is it undergoes, so oleoil oil, it's hard to say, does normal oxidation until that double bond is 2 carbons away. Okay. But then it cannot go through the enoyl-CoA hydratase because it's only a trans, that recognizes trans fats, and these are cis fats. So you have to have this helper enzyme to convert it to trans. All right, so here we go. Whoops, that's not it. So I want you to try to figure out what's going on. And think it through. So the way that this literally reads is, we start off, we have the 18, it's got the double bond. It goes through oxidation 3 times, but now it's where it's going to get stuck because the double bond, the cis double bond, is on the beta carbon. So instead of being a trans delta whatever, it's cis delta 3, and then that literally means 12, 2 plus 10. And we're going to transform it. I wouldn't say the right word. We're going to change it from a cis to a trans fat. So what class or classes of enzymes can do this? This is an isomerase. If you had said mutase, I'm like, oh, yeah. But yeah, this one specifically is an isomerase. Here's where it gets tricky. Naming this isomerase. What do they have in common between the cis delta 3 dodecanoyl, or actually I'll just say cis delta 3 acyl, or acyl enoyl if you wanted to call it that. Remember that the number here is important. CoA, and the trans delta 2 acyl enoyl CoA. What did they have in common? That enoyl CoA part, right? So that's in there. It's enoyl CoA isomerase. But now we have to be a little bit more specific. What positions is it isomerizing? Right, that those carbons 2 and 3. And so we put that all together. That's why once you see this name is ugly because we don't read in Greek letters too often. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I saw that. It looks Greek to me. It is. Ha ha. But it'll sink in. I'm glad. But it's saying delta 3, delta 2, enoyl-CoA isomerase. If you'd said acyl enoyl, delta 3, delta 2, acyl enoyl-CoA isomerase, people would understand what we're talking about as well. Okay. The delta 3, delta 2 just shows you the two positions that are being isomerizing, being, changed. Uh-huh.
Do you have to do? Can you just put? Could you do 2, 3? Or you have to have the deltas in it when you write the name out?
You do the delta because delta just shows you it means double bond. Whereas if you just said 2, 3, technically if you said 2, comma 3, enoyl-CoA, people probably would wonder like what does that mean, because literally that means one double bond. You have two locants. Probably would be some confusion. Now, if you said 2, 3 dienoyl, then that means there are two double bonds. And chances are people would understand enough. Like you pick it up out of the context. All right, but now it's in the correct location, so you can just go ahead and go through and do normal beta oxidation just like before. Backwards. All right, so. How are we doing? Time. All right, so right now, what we're going to do is I'm just going to talk a little bit about polyunsaturated fatty acids before we talk about the quiz. All right, I haven't forgotten about the quiz. So these are the PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids, the little these were related. And there are two problems with this. One of them has to do with cis and trans, and another one, which is actually at least for me, and by the way, it's supposed to be beta oxidation, and whenever it switched over, took away the beta. The more difficult for me had to do with the location. For me personally, was the location. What we meant, and I'll explain what I mean with that. Location of double bonds. And so, where does that double bond need to be at in order for the normal spiral to continue? And it requires 2. Okay. Rather than trying to rush that in right now, I thought I'll go ahead and stop here.